Hey everybody, welcome to Make Money Math Time, the show where we do math to make money. So if you like either of those, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you'll be notified every time we release a new video. Today's episode will see just how much money we save in a year by making coffee at home versus going to coffee shops. And since people's habits vary so much, we're going to break this episode into a few different sections, so jump to the time that applies to you. We're going to have coffee, cold brew, lattes, and then espresso and Americanos. I'm also including a spreadsheet in the description, so please download that and plug in your own numbers to find out just how much you'll save by making coffee at home. All the math's done for you, you just got to plug in your own numbers. So let's start off with the most common drink, coffee. Most people either drink their coffee black or with cream and sugar. Now when we look at Starbucks prices, it looks like they're charging $2.45 after tax. And that's pretty fair compared with artisan coffee houses. I would say in most mid-sized to tier 2 cities in the US, coffee is going to run between $2 and $3. I also don't think you're required to tip on just a cup of coffee. The barista isn't making a whole espresso drink for you. Now I do know that the cheapest coffee in my town is $1.85, so if I wanted to plug that number in I could, but I do think that this $2.45 number is pretty accurate. So to get the price of a cup of coffee, we're basically looking at two things. The first is the price of the coffee. We don't have to incorporate the price of cream and sugar because it's sitting out and it's free for us. The second cost, which we don't think of, is the cost of driving to the coffee shop. So for this illustration, I'm saying that we're drinking 4 to 5 cups of coffee a week. So the price of the coffee itself, very straightforward. Take that $2.45 times the amount of times per week that you get a coffee times 52 weeks in a year, and you're looking at $573.30 for the coffee itself. Now we have to add the price of driving a mile. Well, in a previous episode, we saw that it cost about 20 cents to drive your car 1 mile. If you haven't seen that episode, I definitely recommend you check it out. It's a very valuable number that really affects all facets of your life. So we take that 20 cents, we multiply it by the number of miles out of the way the coffee shop is. So if we go from work to home and we always get coffee on the way home, how many miles out of our way are we going to get that coffee? So we take that 20 cents times the amount of miles times the amount per week that we go to the coffee shop times 52 weeks in a year. We're looking at $93.60 spent on the transportation to and from the coffee shop. That gives us a grand total in a year of $666.90. That's the number we're trying to beat. And this is for Starbucks. If we want to plug in our own numbers for an artisan coffee house, feel free. When I did that, I was realizing that the artisan coffee house was running over $900. Okay, so now we're making our coffee at home. What do we need to make that happen? Well, of course, we need the coffee beans, but we're also going to need that cream and sugar if that's what we take. We're going to need equipment to actually make the coffee. So that might mean a grinder, which I do suggest because it allows your beans to stay fresher longer. So we need a grinder and we need a coffee machine. When I look on Amazon for these items, I see a highly rated grinder for $18.94 and a highly rated coffee machine for $69.99. So after tax, that gives us a total upfront cost of $96.27. What about coffee beans? Well, when I look online, I can find one on Amazon for $16.99. This is a 10-ounce bag, which is a little bit more expensive than the buy-in-bulk bags. But since I'm just a single person, I want something smaller because coffee beans really only keep for about a month. After that, they go a little bit stale. Again, buying a grinder will help the life of these coffee beans. They say that you get 44 servings of coffee in a 16-ounce bag. So when you do the math, that turns out to be one serving size of 0.36 ounces. This means that a price of a single cup of coffee after tax comes out to be about 67 cents, making the total cost of the coffee over a year $156.50. Okay, what about creamer? I really like hazelnut creamer. When I look on Amazon, I see a 96-ounce bottle for $13.68. Now, the little cups of cream that you get at Starbucks or a coffee shop or anything like that, those are actually 0.375 ounces of creamer. So that's the serving size that we're going to go with. This means that the price of a single serving of creamer is just about 6 cents. I say I'm only going to use one each time I get a coffee, so that makes a total cost in the year on creamer of $13.54. Okay, now we got to add the sugar. When I look on Amazon, I see 128 ounces of sugar for $17.15. Now we're looking on the back, we realize we're purchasing a total of 908 teaspoons. This equates to about 2 cents per serving. And if I take 2 sugars in my coffee, over a year I'm spending a total of about $10. So when we add up all those first year costs, the upfront cost of the machinery, the coffee, the sugar, and the creamer, we're looking at a total of just about $270. Now the great thing is, in future years, we still own the coffee machine, we still own the grinder. So that means that future years of drinking coffee will cost us just about $175. This means that for every cup of coffee we drink by not going to Starbucks, we're saving $2.09. Over the course of the year, we're saving a total of $490 just by making coffee at home versus going to Starbucks. So we could even buy a fancy coffee machine and still be saving hundreds of dollars versus going to Starbucks. So this is maybe your sign that you should absolutely be making coffee at home. Do not be going out to Starbucks every day. You know, cold brew is a potent way to drink coffee, and it is getting more and more popular every year. And that's probably because the coffee shops can charge you twice as much as a regular cup of coffee, even though there's not that much of a difference. Well, if we look into it, Starbucks charges $3.25 for its cold brew, and I think that's pretty on par with most coffee shops. It could be a little low. If you know the price of cold brew at your favorite coffee shop, make sure you plug that in the spreadsheet. Okay, so to calculate the price of a cold brew in a year, we take the price of the cold brew itself, and we also have to add in the transportation cost to get to the coffee shop. So to get the price of cold brew itself, we take the cost of a cold brew times how many times per week we drink it, times 52 weeks in a year, and it comes out to be $760.50. In a previous episode, we saw that it costs about 20 cents to drive a mile. So when we add the cost of transportation to the cost of cold brew itself, we're looking at $854 per year on cold brew. So that's our number to beat. Now, if we're making cold brew at home, what do we need? Well, we need a grinder for the coffee beans, we need a French press or another way to make the cold brew, we need cream and sugar, and of course the beans. So when I look on Amazon for grinders, the cheapest one with at least 4 stars is $18.94. As far as cold brew makers go, I'm seeing one for $21. So after tax, that means the grinder plus the cold brew maker is $43.47. That's not bad. I look on Amazon, I see a 10-ounce bag of coffee beans for $16.99. Now, this is a little bit more expensive than if I were to buy in bulk, get something bigger. However, since I'm just a single person, a 10-ounce bag is good for me. You typically don't want coffee beans lasting longer than a month, so 10 ounces is just great. Now, with cold brew, you're actually using twice as many beans as normal coffee. So typically, you get 44 cups of coffee in a 16-ounce bag. With cold brew, you only get 22. So the math of it all being, a serving size is actually 0.73 ounces of coffee beans. So when we do the math, we're realizing that the cost of beans per serving is $1.34, and the cost of beans per year for cold brew is $312.99. So the first year expense of making your own cold brew is the cost of making the cold brews plus the machinery cost. So we're looking at a total of $376.79. However, every subsequent year, we already own the equipment. So now we just have to make the coffee. So we're looking at $333.32. Compared to Starbucks, we're saving $2.23 every time we make a cold brew at home. And on the year, we're saving $520 if we make cold brew at home versus going to Starbucks 4 to 5 times a week. So lattes are my favorite coffee drink. They're also the most unhealthy and expensive coffee drink. So when we go into the math of this, it's going to be really shocking. Again, I'm assuming that we're drinking lattes 4 to 5 times a week. Well, the price of a latte after tax and tip at Starbucks is $3.95. If we're doing the math for an artisan coffee house, make sure that you're including tax and tip. And with a latte, especially if you get a flavor, most lattes in my city run about $6 after tax, tip, and 50-cent charge for flavor. So to get the cost of lattes, we have to do the cost of the lattes themselves. We also have to add the cost of transportation. In a previous episode, we saw that it costs about 20 cents to drive a mile. We're going to continue to compare to Starbucks, even though we know that an artisan coffee shop is going to cost a lot more. But plug in the numbers and see what exactly works for you. But for Starbucks, if we're drinking Starbucks lattes 4 to 5 times a week at $3.95, that means that a total amount in a year, we're spending $924 on lattes. That's coffee beans and milk. We're spending $924 on it. Now we have to add the cost of transportation. If we're saying that Starbucks is 2 miles out of the way every time we go to get it, then we're going to add the 2 miles times the cost of driving. Over the whole year, we're looking at $93 in driving. So when we add this all up, the cost of lattes plus transportation, over a year, we're looking at over $1,000 spent on lattes. And if we look at the local coffee shops at $6 per pop, over a year, that's just under $1,500 on lattes. Okay, so if we want to save some money at home, what all do we need? Well, we need to buy a coffee grinder, a latte maker, we need to buy espresso beans, milk, and flavored syrup. So for coffee grinder, when I look on Amazon, the one with at least 4 stars that's the cheapest is $18.94. So for a latte maker, when I go on Amazon, the cheapest one I can find with at least 4 stars is $159. Now that seems expensive, but as long as the total cost is under $1,000, we're still saving money. Okay, what about the price of espresso beans? Well, when I look on Amazon, I find highly rated bags for $21.65. Now this is a 35.2 ounce bag, so this is a pretty big bag, more for a family than just a single person or couple. Nonetheless, that's what we're going to go with. And keep in mind there's about 18 grams of espresso beans in an average double shot of espresso. So when we do all that math, we realize that the price per serving is 42 cents per latte. 42 cents per latte. That's using a standard double shot, and over a year, that's going to cost us $98.93. Now lattes are majority milk. The ratio is about 3-to-1 milk to espresso, 4-to-1 depending on your taste. When I look at milk on Amazon, I'm looking at $3.19. That's for a 64-ounce jug of milk. If a serving size is 6 ounces, then that means that the price per serving of milk is about 32 cents. This means over the year, we're spending $75 on milk. And what about flavoring? I really like the vanilla, so that's what we're going to go with. I see a $10.40 bottle, 25.4 ounces. Now, since our latte is only 8 ounces, we'll be using about a half an ounce of flavor. This makes a price per serving of about 22 cents. So over a year, we're looking at a total of about $50 on flavor. Okay, so we got all the individual numbers. Let's add them up. We see that the first year latte cost, this is getting the machine, the grinder, all that stuff, plus the price of lattes themselves, we're looking at about $420, which is less than half of Starbucks, right? But after the first year, we already have the latte machine, we have the grinder, so we're looking at a future annual cost of just about $220. This means that we're saving almost $3.50 per latte. That also means if we typically go to the local coffee shops where we spend $6 on a flavored latte plus the price of driving there, we're actually saving over $5 per latte by making it at home. And our total annual savings compared to Starbucks is almost $800. Compared to the art house coffee shops, we're looking at a savings of over $1,200. That's a ton of money for milk and beans. Okay, so straight up espresso or Americano, this is for the coffee connoisseurs who don't want to dilute it with milk or anything like that. I respect that. That's cool. So I'm going to say that we're drinking 4 to 5 cups of espresso a week, or Americano. The average price of espresso after tax and tip at Starbucks is $2.95. Now, coffee shops are about the same price. However, you do have to, or you're supposed to, tip $1 on this drink. So the price of a coffee shop espresso is closer to $4 or $4.50, whereas Starbucks is going to be $2.95. Starbucks does typically burn the beans, so I do not get my espresso at Starbucks. But again, download the spreadsheet, plug in your own numbers, and see what works for you. So we're drinking Starbucks 4 to 5 times a week, $2.95. That is a total of $690 over the year. Now we also have to take into account the transportation costs of getting to Starbucks. Say we're grabbing it on the way home from work, we have to know how many miles out of the way that we're going to get to Starbucks. Because in a previous episode, we saw that it costs about 20 cents to drive a single mile. And that number really adds up over time. If you haven't seen that episode, I definitely recommend you check it out. This is a number that kind of permeates every time you leave the house to go buy something. So we have the total cost of just the espresso. We have to add another $93 just in transportation costs for the year. So we're looking at a total of $783 on espresso. If we're going to Starbucks, that's the cheaper version, right? If we go to a more local artisan coffee shop, we're looking at over $1,100 just on espressos and Americanos. Okay, so that's the number we got to beat. We're going to do this at home. What are the things we need? Well, we need a coffee grinder, we need an espresso machine, and I'm going to include milk and sugar because some people do that in their Americano as well. So first off, coffee grinder. I found a highly rated one on Amazon for $18.94. I found an espresso maker on Amazon for $111.75. Again, seems like a large cost, but in the grand scheme of things, you're really helping yourself out by buying this up front. On Amazon, I found a $21.65 bag of espresso beans. It is 35.2 ounces, so it is a little bit better for families because those beans are going to last you a long time. But using that, the price per serving, we're looking at 42 cents after tax. We're looking at 42 cents per serving. So a total cost of just over $98 on the year. Now for milk, I found one online for $3.19. This is 64 ounces of milk. We're going to say the serving size is the same as those little creamer packet or little creamer containers, and that's 3/8 of an ounce. So when we do the math, we're realizing that the price per serving is only 2 cents. Now I don't do any milk in my Americano, so I'm going to put 0 cost for the year. If you do, plug in your own numbers and you'll get something different. Now for sugar or sweetener, I found a $17.15 bag, 128 ounces. If we're buying a total of 908 teaspoons, that means the cost of a single sugar serving is just about 2 cents. Again, I don't use any of those, so I won't be filling out any cost, but if you do, plug that number in and you'll get something slightly different. So the first year of espresso costs, this is after buying the espresso machine and making all your espressos 4 to 5 times a week, you're only looking at $250, a little above that. But after the first year, you already own the espresso maker, so the total cost per year after that is only going to be $110. $110 to have espresso 4 to 5 times a week is a great cost. If you go to Starbucks, you're spending $780. That is a huge difference. The per drink saving compared to Starbucks is $2.88. So making your espresso at home saves you a ton of money. And again, this is Starbucks. This is the cheaper alternative. This isn't the more gourmet local art house coffee. So a total annual savings compared to Starbucks for espressos and Americanos, you're looking at just about $670. So just by buying an espresso machine and making espresso at home, you're saving almost $700 a year. Even if you get a very expensive espresso machine, even if you get the $500 espresso machine at the coffee shop, you're still going to be saving money. That's really good to know. That's really powerful information. So that was a pretty meaty episode with all the different sections and everything like that. Hope you guys got something out of it. I think it's also important to note that I'm not advocating to go cold turkey on coffee shops. I don't think that you should make all your coffee at home, all your lattes at home, and never set foot in a coffee shop. They're great places to hang out with friends, but I think just by knowing the information, just by knowing how much money you could be saving is very empowering. Because even if we're saving $200 or $300 in the year, that's money that we can take and invest and have work for us. I'm including a link in the description to all the coffee supplies I'm mentioning, so if you do find yourself wanting to make more coffee at home, please check those out. Every time you do buy an item off Amazon from one of those links, it does support this channel, and it does allow me to make more videos like this and help you guys out. Well, that's this episode of Make Money Math Time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This channel is still very new, so please comment below. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like to see in the future. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all that good stuff, and tune in every Monday morning where we do math to make money.